Hi, I'm Mike, owner of the In-Groove in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm going to go over my Record Store Day 2024 pickups. Now, normally I do unboxings for Record Store Day where I just do a straight up unboxing, but a lot of people are like, blowing me up in the comments. How does it sound? How does it sound? How does it sound? Well, I don't know how it sounds because it's an unboxing. You've watched me open it and on camera and I hadn't listened to it yet. So I figured this year I would do something totally different. Now, I'm not going to show you all the stuff I picked up at Record Store Day. I'm only going to show you the stuff that I've had a decent amount of time to listen to. At least once. Some of these titles I've listened to 2 and 3 times. And I can pretty much show you right off the bat, this is my #1 choice for Record Store Day. This was the title that I was looking forward to the most. And when it came, I immediately grabbed it out of a box and went and listened to it. And that is the Talking Heads. This is live at WCOZ 1977. I believe this was a radio station. Now, you've actually heard part of this before. The original Talking Heads live album before Stop Making Sense. What is it? The name of the band is the Talking Heads. Okay, so side 1 of this particular album is actually part of this concert. But 7 of the tracks, I believe it's 7, have never been released before. So yeah, so what do we got? 5 tracks here. Doesn't actually even specify. You got to go online to even see where the tunes were culled from. But you are now getting the full concert. Now, it's on 2 discs, so it's cut at 45 RPM. Now, there isn't too much to show you here because this is all you get. 2 polylined inners, no book, which is kind of disappointing. I would have liked to have seen something, but not a gatefold. Yeah, first issued on the name of the band is the Talking Heads. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 5 of these tracks came out on the name of the band as the Talking Heads. The other 7 are unreleased. This concert is killer. I've listened to this 3, 4, 5 times. I've listened to it a bunch. Sonically, it's fantastic because if you're familiar with that album, you know that album sounds fantastic, right? But one thing to keep in mind is this is a 45 RPM. Yeah, so 3 songs, 2, 3, 4 songs. That's, what is that, like 3 or 4 tracks aside. Looks like it was mastered by Sterling. We've got JN at Sterling. But I think he did, God, I forget his name off the top of my head. He did, I'm almost positive he's the same mastering engineer who did Stop Making Sense. The latest reissue of Stop Making Sense. But this was my #1 pickup. I'm a huge Talking Heads fan. Huge Talking Heads fan. And yeah, this was my #1 pickup. Oh, let me show you something real cool. Okay, when I was in Chicago this past week at Expona 2024, there's some record dealers down at the marketplace, and I actually picked up a white label test pressing from the Talking Heads, Remain in Light. It's like $350, but I just couldn't pass it up. Again, one of my top favorite bands. Absolutely love the Talking Heads. White label test pressing has absolutely nothing to do with this video, but I thought I'd show it to you because it's awesome. Okay. Sonically great. Talking Heads is just a home run pickup, in my opinion. If you're even a marginal fan, that concert is awesome. Okay, The Doors. This is live at Concerthurst, Stockholm, September 20th, 1968. Now, The Doors have recently put a lot of like archival type stuff out. Some of it has been sonically acceptable. Some of it has just been for the fans because these are concerts we knew that they had and we wanted official releases of. This kind of falls somewhere in the middle. So this was actually done from the original 4-track tapes. Okay, so cut from the original 4-track tapes. And 3 of those 4 tracks are awesome. I mean, sonically awesome. Here's the hype sticker. Newly mixed by Bruce Botnick from the original multi-tracks. It was actually cut by Bernie Grundman, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure. I'll check it out with you in a minute. But this is kind of the package here. Numbered to 11,500. I got 443. I've actually listened to this concert quite a few times. The band is on point. I mean, they are playing a killer show. Two shows here. There's an early show and a late show. Both shows are killer. They're playing stuff stuff that you don't hear very often. They do Love Street on the early show of Disc 1. The other stuff is pretty much the stuff you would have heard in 1968. Little Game, Hill Dwellers, Unknown Soldier, 5 to 1. There's multiple versions of Mac the Knife on live shows, but they do Mac the Knife cover. But great show. Now, Mike, what are you talking about? 3 of the 4 tracks. So Jim's vocals, and they've always been this way, when he's singing something like Love Street, they sound fine. But when he screams, which is frequently because it's Jim Morrison, the vocals distort. It was a defect in the recording. Now, it works. When Jim Morrison is like screaming into the microphone and his vocals cut out, it just somehow works. It's not ideal, but this is actually unlike the last couple of shows they've released for Record Store Day. This is something I think that is very listenable because of a few, like I told you, the rest of the band is playing awesome. And they're playing, when you hear enough Doors live concerts, some of them start, the performances there's some similarity, what they're playing and how they're playing it. This kind of deviates from this. So, Ray's playing some notes that you don't really hear on a lot of other shows, and so is Robbie. He's playing some fills, and John's playing. There's just a little bit different vibe. Maybe it's because it's a European show, but there's a different vibe, and they're kind of playing differently. And the other 3 tracks are really recorded exceptionally well. It's a really good sounding show, except for Jim Morrison's vocals that break up. But yeah, this was great. I'm glad this came out. This is a show, again, that I think, for me anyways, will get a decent amount of play. They all come on this baby blue vinyl. But yeah, so I dig it. So that was my number 2 want. And it did disappoint. Like what was the last year's? Bakersfield? Maybe that came out Black Friday. I listened to it one time, and now I'll never listen to it again. Just because, maybe I'll listen to it at some point in the future. Never say never, but it's not a show that I would put on heavy rotation. This isn't a show I put on heavy rotation, but this is a show that I will go back to. Just the performances by the rest of the band are so tight on that. Okay, this I've listened to 3 or 4 times as well. That is the Rolling Stones, live at the Racket, New York City. Great show. They did 7 tunes. I think there was like 500 people. It was for fat cats, bazillionaires, industry execs, television personalities, celebrities. It was one of those, you got to really know somebody and you got to be somebody kind of show. So it's on YouTube. They originally released this as a bonus disc to like a CD that came out. They came out with the regular CD first, then they came out with a deluxe expanded CD that had this concert on it. But now it's getting its first vinyl release for Record Store Day. Really good. I think they do 7 songs, maybe 4 songs from the new album. Yeah, they're doing Angry, Whole Wide World, Bite My Head Off, and Sweet Sounds of Heaven with Lady Gaga. And it is on white vinyl. Press that MPO, no mastering credits. Oh, wait. Mad at Metropolis. Interesting. He wrote it on one side, but not the other. But enjoyed. I love the Rolling Stones live. It's, I've seen the Stones and Elton John more than any other band. The Rolling Stones is not just a concert, it's an event when you see the Rolling Stones live. So my shelf is just littered with Rolling Stones live concerts, that Volt series stuff. But this was a hell of a listen. Okay, next up is Everybody Digs Bill Evans. This is actually, they don't notate this as an OJC now that I look at it, but this is an OJC, really, right? Tip-on jacket, Bill Evans, AAA lacquers cut from the original master tapes by Kevin Graham, 180 vinyl, 180 gram vinyl, pressed at RTI. So it's, you know, thick cover. It's exactly the same thing as an OJC, but they don't actually call it an OJC. But, and this is actually becoming quite annoying, mastered from the original analog tapes by Kevin Gray, and Matt Luthens is in the dead wax. Now, Matt does an exceptional job. I'm not ragging on Matt. I mean, he's doing it at Coherent. It's on Kevin Gray's equipment, and he's kind of trained under Kevin for quite some time now. So these records that he's been doing, and he's done more than one of these OJCs, they've been killer. I just wish they would actually get the hype stickers right. But Bill Evans' stuff on Riverside is fantastic. So now we've essentially got 3. We've got Waltz for Debbie, Village Vanguard, and now the mono. Now this is a mono, keep in mind. Everybody digs Bill Evans. I'm sure stereo will come out as an official OJC in the future. But that's kind of what Record Store Day they've been doing recently with Kraft has been doing for these jazz titles. They're doing the mono cuts. They did Quiet Kenny. They did Art Pepper Meets the Rhythm section in mono. And they did Gil Evans last year. The Gil Evans is a great record, and it didn't sell very well, but it was awesome. But that was my first, second, third, and fourth want. Okay, now I'll show you a title that I was thrilled about. I love Blaxploitation films. This is one I kind of sampled quickly. It's on Verace Sarabande. It's AAA, cut from the master tape by Jeff Powell at Take Out Vinyl, and it sounds fine. I listened to it a couple times, and I thought to myself, I'm probably never going to listen to this again. It has its moments, but I don't know. For me, I kind of wanted a little bit funky, a little funkier. But let me show it to you. The vinyl's really, it's a good record. It's done right. Tip-on jacket. I'm on the fence though. I don't know if I'm going to keep this. Smoke, like clear smoke vinyl. You know, nice thick tip-on jacket. Yeah. I'm on the fence. I have a feeling this one is going to be something I sell. It's getting to the point where I've just got, I won't say too many records. I just don't have space for the records. We're already, you know, I've talked to my wife multiple times about moving because I hate having to make all these vinyl decisions. I just need more space. And I can only take over so much of the house. I mean, I don't feel comfortable putting the records in the kitchen or the bathroom, you know, due to humidity and that type of stuff. So I've already commandeered bedrooms, living rooms, formal dining rooms. I need more space. So that is probably going to get axed. Although, I mean, it's a good record. It sounds good, but it's just, I needed to be a little bit heavier on the funk side for my taste. More of it, I guess. It has its moments. I pick up always all the Ramones releases. This is the 1975 Sire demos. This is pretty good sonically. Some of these Record Store Day releases have been demos, maybe from a cassette tape. I feel like these were demos that were properly done in a studio. Sound really good, but they're early rough mixes. 1975 demos that got them signed. So it's kind of cool. You kind of, I mean, this is what the execs would have been listening to when they made the decision to sign the Ramones. Let's see, master, it's Joe Nino Hernes. That's who actually did the Talking Heads at Sterling Sound. But sounds good, you know, for a Ramones demo. It's not, you know, it's not a Faust Living Stereo title or anything, but it's pretty damn good for what it is. Because, like I said, some of these have come out on cassette tape. Clear vinyl. I've got all of them so far. This is actually really good. I'll listen to this more, I am sure. And, you know, I wish I had more time. This has been such a crazy week. I've been filming videos every single day. I'm exhausted as it is. I just haven't had a lot of time. And some of these have been so good, like the Talking Heads. I just keep listening to that. So, I don't know. I got to give some more time to some of the other stuff I culled in a pile. But this is the last title. This was actually mailed to me. So I've had this about a month. So I've had a lot of time to listen to it. But out of all the stuff, this was the only record that was sent to me. That is Nat King Cole's Live at the Blue Note Chicago. This was done in 1953. This was recorded in 1953. Lacquer's cut by Kevin Gray. Restored audio from the original tapes. So let me show you what this looks like. It's really exceptionally well done, and I'll talk to you about the sound. Nat King Cole's voice is, first of all, he was one hell of an entertainer, and this really showcases that. Check it out. Nat King Cole, yeah, great package. You know, hasn't it? I mean, they just did a good job on it. The jazz titles, that are coming out on Record Store Days, you know, the jazz titles tend in general to be pretty damn good as far as the packaging goes. Look at that photo. God. I mean, look at this. This is fantastic. When you listen to this, you get all the sense of what made Nat King Cole the star that he was. This was recorded in 1953, and it was recorded live in 1953. For 1953 live, this is exceptionally well done. Don't expect to be getting a modern tone poet. You know what I mean? It's not that level. But there was kind of, for audio, I think 55 was kind of the breaking point. That's when like real high fidelity started coming in. That's when the new era of, for instance, Blue Note, they were pretty much transitioning from the 78 era, the early era of the LP. High fidelity really got going, I want to say 1955. Some labels were a little bit slower to, develop, record, to meet, for instance, Rudy Van Gelder's standard. But by the late 50s, a lot more labels were on board. But 1955, I think, was kind of the turning point for me when I go back and listen to music. I noticed, like, after 55, that's when you have a chance of getting something truly spectacular. It's amazing if you think about the 4 or 5 year span from, say, 52, 53 to 58, 59. Like, the sound quality difference was unbelievable. I wonder what people must have thought back then, you know what I mean, when a couple of years go by and you end up with this, and then you start buying records and they sound like some of those later 50s Blue Notes. That must have been amazing for the people that had the right gear. This is really good, though. I've listened to this 3 or 4 times, partly because I got it early, but it's so good. He does just a killer set here. 4 sides. God, how many tracks are on this? Damn near 30 tracks. He does Nature Boy. I mean, he does the hits. He does Unforgettable. It's Only a Paper Moon. The introduction is great. There's a little introduction. Frank Holtzfiend, where he's like, Frank is the man, or Nat's the man. There's nobody I would rather introduce. Hey, you in the back, be quiet. Is that kind of thing. Let's see. Route 66. Pretend. A Fool Was I. I mean, this is just, Nat's voice is absolutely fantastic. But this is a really cool set. And again, for 1953 and live, I didn't expect much, and this was quite a bit better than I expected. Really good. But yeah, that is it. Now, there's a lot of the other jazz titles that I pulled off, out of I just haven't had a chance to get to them. And I didn't feel, there's so many people that reviewed those, because a lot of people got early copies of that stuff. So many people had a chance to review those that I figured, let me try to hit some of the stuff and pay attention to some of the stuff that hasn't been done a gazillion times, online already, some of the reviews of some of the other titles. But that is it. I mean, this is going to be an absolute crazy record store day. We're open at 8 o'clock on Record Store Day. Everything that doesn't sell on Record Store Day will be on our website, theingroove.com, the following day at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. What is that, 5 o'clock Arizona time? And I have an immense amount of stuff, at least twice of what I had last year. It's just the amount of, because there were so many great titles. If a title's really good, I'll order real heavy. And when you've got so many great titles. I found myself, 200 of these, 300 of these, 300 of these, 500 of these. That's how I had to order because I knew how popular and in demand some of these titles were going to be. But yeah, that is it so far for my Record Store Day haul and what I've listened to. But I've got about 10 more that I'm going to try to make a dent in tomorrow and over the weekend. All right, guys, check us out online, theingroove.com. Until next time.